Each and every state in America is considered its own entity and has laws regarding certain things that it finds bannable. Some of these laws do make sense. For example, vetoing weapons, drugs, excessive drinking, and so forth and so on. While others, it's not so much, as they're kind of extremely strange. So let's take a look at a few weird items that are prohibited in some selective states and see why they would even be on the law's radar. Arkansas, no mosquito slaying. Okay, so this one's pretty weird because with summer at our doorsteps, this could seem like a little bit out of the ordinary. These tiny insects like to prey on both human and animal blood alike, so it kind of makes perfect sense to want to eliminate the mosquito problem, especially for those of us who live in the countryside. However, the Arkansas law states that none of the quote-unquote living creatures should be killed. It's not godly to do so. You can kill them in Arkansas only under one condition: if they attack you. And usually that's the case with gnats anyway, so don't feel like you're breaking the law if you happen to be in this state and, while sitting outside enjoying your coffee, suddenly get attacked by these tiny biting monsters. You can always use special sprays or special mosquito repellent bracelets so as to protect yourself from being bitten, but no protection is created equal. Some types can actually get you in trouble. California, you can't wear a mask or other face covering. Yep, you heard it. It's especially strange to see a law like that nowadays with the COVID-19 virus being spread all over the world. And while this law specifically targets criminals trying to disguise their face so as to avoid being easily captured by police, now with the pandemic masking rule, felons might be using it to their advantage. And if you're ever thinking about wearing one as part of, let's say your Halloween costume, if you want to pose as Spider-Man or Batman, then you might want to think about getting special permission from the local sheriff's department. Delaware even has a weirder law making it illegal to trick-or-treat if Halloween falls on a Sunday. Speaking of Delaware, no trick-or-treating if it falls on Sunday. Sorry kids, but if Halloween falls on a Sunday, that means that you only eat candy that your moms and dads prepared for you. It might be strange, but it is the law, since some religious groups thought that it wouldn't be right to have Halloween on a day that should be devoted to the Lord. If Halloween does end up falling on that Sunday, what the cities will do is basically take that day and kind of push it back, as it were, to be rescheduled. So that way, you can still have your trick-or-treating out of the way by Saturday and show off your beautiful costumes to the neighbors. In continuation of Halloween theme, you might also want to rethink your vampire costume if you're in the state of Louisiana, as people may think that you're about to cause trouble. You see, Louisiana doesn't allow animal or human blood drinking. It's one thing to be watching Vampire Diaries or maybe the Twilight Saga on TV, and another to personify one. Vampires are considered outlaws in the state, as well as witches and voodoos, or, well, really just anybody who may incorporate animal or human blood into their rituals. In case you're ever caught in the act of blood drinking, you may end up going to jail for 5 years or receive a $5,000 fine at the judge's discretion. It just depends on the severity of the case. So, you'll have to ditch your vampire costume, even if you are a fan of one of the above-mentioned series, and maybe opt for a less scary one to fit right in with the Louisiana crowd. Louisiana has a strict no blood drinking law, but Rhode Island is even more strict, with a law prohibiting citizens from biting somebody's limbs off. Rhode Island, no biting someone's limbs off. Biting somebody's limbs is punishable by up to 5 to 20 years in jail. Yeah, it's that strict, so think twice before you let your anger take over and things get physical. The law states that you not only can't bite anybody's limbs off, but you also can't cut somebody's ears, lips, or eyes. So if you end up going into a bar in Rhode Island and there's excessive drinking happening, words start to fly around, then some fight inevitably starts after a wrong thing is said, my advice is just to get the heck out of there. What might be a man-to-man talk for you, of course with consequent nose punching, is a police report for your opponent, and as a result, a very possible imprisonment for you. The punishment is too serious to be fooling around, so know when to walk away from a situation. Or maybe you can just kiss and make up right on the spot. Just make sure you don't kiss anybody on Sunday in Connecticut. To make a long story short, it's illegal for a man to kiss his woman in public on a Sunday in Connecticut. What? That's pretty weird if you ask me. What better day is there to kiss, hug, and show appreciation for one another? This law was instituted by the priest Samuel Peters way back in the day, whenever the state of Connecticut was a Puritan colony under English control. This law is one of the blue laws published by Peters to restrict certain activities on Sunday. While it may be illegal, my advice is to stay in the comfort of your own home and break the law as many times as you want. You're the master of your own castle. Not only can you do what you want in your own home, but you can also wear what you want as well, including comfortable clothes. Illinois, saggy pants are not welcomed. This is a true disappointment for somebody who wants to be comfy all day long, even when running errands. Well, in Illinois, you have to dress differently in public and wear pants that would not slide down your backside to the point where they can see your underwear. This law was created because many people who wore sweatpants and accidentally exposed themselves to other citizens in public whenever their sweatpants had slipped off. Police officers were bombarded with complaints of indecent exposure, and the law was then put into effect shortly after. You are not going to get any jail time for this, of course, but you can easily face up to a $100 fine for the first offense and get double for any other subsequent offenses. So, next time that your Aunt Susan gives you another Santa sweater and matching sweatpants to go with it for Christmas, keep it for the house only. Honestly, I don't advise you to go in public wearing this type of outfit if you live in Illinois or maybe visiting for the holidays. And speaking of gift giving, this one is prohibited as a present option in Montana, but I don't think anybody in their right mind would want to give it away. Montana, no rat gifting. A very bizarre gift option, don't you think? Unless a person is a rat enthusiast, it's kind of strictly prohibiting as a gift. There's so many other ways to show love and appreciation for an important person in your life, and rat gifting is just not gonna cut it. You can buy and sell rats, but only for pet breeding purposes. For example, if you want to buy some for your pet snake, as well as if you want to feed a few raptors landing in your backyard. Since we touched on the subject of food, there is a weird law that was instituted in Vermont in 1999 involving apple pie. Vermont, apple pie must be eaten with vanilla ice cream. It's not the worst law when you kind of think about it, because for all the ice cream lovers out there, it's actually kind of a bonus, since they not only get a slice of delicious homemade pie, but an ice cream scoop to go with it since they don't have to pay extra for it. If you're not a big fan of ice cream, you can always share it with your significant other, or maybe take it to go and put it in the fridge for preservation. You can always make a milkshake out of it, adding a few berries to suit your taste. Alternatively, you can eat your apple pie with cheese or milk instead of ice cream. Obviously, I don't think anybody in their right mind would make that substitution. Whatever combination that you choose, this is going to be your own selection and a rightful one. New Mexico, idiots can't vote. Voting is a constitutional right of every American citizen living in the U.S., except for those in the state of New Mexico. The state clearly says that there is no idiots, felons, or mentally insane people that can vote in elections. Okay, so criminals and mentally challenged people we get, but the concept of an idiot, I mean, that's just confusing to say the least. Obviously, nobody will ever in their right mind consider themselves stupid, so this is a very weird law that seems open to interpretation. If an annoying neighbor or maybe a hateful coworker calls you an idiot, does that mean you can't vote? They're just maybe mad at you and you really shouldn't take it literally. You might even get mad and call them stupid back. Does that really mean that neither of you can vote? Of course not. So I think New Mexico needs to make some legal changes.